Hey everyone. For today's video, I want to share with you one of the easiest ways to get better with conflict. Notice a lot of people struggle with this, especially people pleasers. So hopefully this tip will help you kind of dip your toes into experiencing conflict more often so you can build up resilience and not be so afraid of it. So the tip I have for you is just to practice saying no more often. And to make this even easier, figure out ways of saying no that are a bit more gentle, because I understand, saying no at first can be a bit daunting. So if you find a gentle way of saying it that doesn't come off quite as rude, I mean, in general, saying no isn't really rude for the most part, but there are ways that you can say it that kind of can come off a bit callous. So the gentler you can be, it'll make it easier for you to practice this so you can kind of just dip your toes into conflict, like I said earlier. So if somebody asks you if you want to hang out on a certain day or whatever and you don't want to, you could just straight up say, I've got other plans, or I'm busy, or I'm not interested. Like, those are all somewhat gentler ways of saying no, although I would say in general you should strive to be a bit more authentic. But I get that just straight up telling someone, that doesn't sound fun in my opinion, so I don't want to do it, maybe a bit too rude. So definitely just find gentler ways of saying no. But this is just a great way of kind of allowing yourself to build up that resilience, because it is a minor amount of conflict, right? It's not going to start an argument or a debate or anything like that, but it is something that requires you to step into a little bit of conflict, just a little minor amount. So it's a great tip for helping you build up that resilience, so that way conflict isn't such a scary thing to you. And it also will help you enforce your boundaries, which is a life skill that everyone pretty much needs to have. Now, I do want to share with you one other bonus tip that will help all the people pleasers out there, because I understand one of the main reasons why so many people are afraid to say no is because they don't want people to not like them. They have those people-pleasing tendencies where they want everyone around them to have a favorable opinion of them, to like them, and they believe that if they say no, it'll make people not like them. And, of course, that's partially true. But here's the thing. When you're being authentic and you're just speaking your truth and you don't want to do something, you don't want to do certain plans or whatever it may be, the only people who will ever dislike you for that are people who probably aren't even great friends or great people to have in your life, right? Like, usually the mature, good people in your life will understand your rationale. If you're just not feeling it, if you don't like that activity that they want to do, and you tell them, they'll be like, okay, cool, we'll invite you for the next thing we do. Hopefully you'll like that, right? They're not going to be like, oh my God, you don't want to go snowboarding with us? What is your problem? You don't want to drop however much money it costs to rent all the equipment and do that? Like, this sounds like a very specific example, but it's not one I'm taking from my own life. Just the first one that came to mind. But yeah, like, being honest, people will usually respect that. And you'll find you often don't even need to give anyone an explanation. In fact, I would say the only time you do owe someone an explanation is when you say no to something a bit last minute, like you've already kind of agreed to plans and then you're dropping out at the last moment. Probably owe them an explanation for that, because that's not cool behavior for anyone to do. Or another example would be if there's money involved and people have already thrown money down for those plans. Yet again, if you were to drop out last minute and everybody already chipped in money, you're going to owe an explanation, because that's, again, not cool behavior. But outside of those two examples, really, I can't think of many other scenarios where you actually would owe people an explanation for your decisions. Like, you really don't owe people explanations all that often. You really don't. That's people-pleasing tendencies, yet again, because you want other people to like you, which means you think that explaining yourself will help let them down gently when you say no to plans. But you don't owe them that. And mature people don't need explanations all the time. They really don't. So there you go. That's another thing. Usually, if you're afraid of people not liking you, we'll just understand that the only people who won't like you for saying no are the exact people you don't actually want to like you. It's usually going to be takers and those sorts of people who, once they find out that you're a people pleaser and you have difficulty saying no, they're going to be manipulative. They're going to know that you are that kind of person, and they're going to ask you to do favors for them all the time that they may not want to do themselves. So basically, they'll use you, they'll take advantage of you. So if saying no makes someone like that not like you, that's a good thing. Don't view it as bad. It's so interesting how people pleasers have that mentality of wanting to be liked even by people who aren't worth being liked by. Like, why should you care if bad people like you? Who gives a crap what they think? But yeah, so hopefully that helps as well. Just a little mindset tip to not care so much what everyone thinks of you, because sometimes it's good to not be liked by certain people, if you catch my drift. Anyway, hopefully that helps. I hope both of these tips were useful. If you enjoy content like this, be sure to subscribe for more. If you enjoyed the video overall, feel free to leave a like on it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci!